The C64 was first released in January 1982 and went on to become a Guinness World Record holder as the best-selling single-model desktop computer and gaming system at that time. I myself was a toddler when this Commodore 64 first came out, so my first gaming system experience was the Nintendo, the NES. I missed out on the Atari, and the Commodore, and the Amiga. I missed out on all this goodness that a lot of folks had the opportunity to play with. However, I have to say, it's very interesting to see that the Evercade brand is coming out with Commodore 64 games. This is the very first cartridge that's coming to their collection, and I had a chance to play through and test out all 14 games included on their very first collection, and I wanted to give you my thoughts and feedback on it. And if you're familiar with the Evercade, this cartridge will work on the Evercade VS Console, as well as the Evercade Handheld console, and the upcoming Evercade EXP Handheld console that'll be released towards the end of the year. You do have 14 games included on here of a C64 classics, Movie Monsters, Summer Games, Olympic Games, Jumpman, Lee, etc., Alleycats, a whole mess of stuff, all different kinds of genres, platformers, action games, shoot-'em-ups, etc. That's right, there are 14 games built into this Evercade C64 cartridge. You'll notice the cartridge is blue, and that's because unlike their arcade games, which are purple, and their console games, which are red, the Evercade series, so this is the first of what they're probably going to do is release several cartridges, will come in a blue case, great artwork. That's what makes Evercade so special, is the nostalgia of collecting clamshells, and inside of the clamshells you get your instruction booklets, man. Full color instruction booklets with everything you need to know, how to play every single game, details on every single game, etc. It's awesome. They even include a little, decoder cards. These are pretty cool as well for your Commodore stuff. And of course, these adorable little cartridges, man. How can you not love these little cartridges? Oh, they're so cute. They're so cute. But here's the thing. Although the cartridges are cute, how are the games? One really nice thing about playing these cartridges on the Evercade VS console is the ability to hit the pause button and access a whole bunch of different features, such as adjusting the aspect ratios, although I always prefer to play on the default aspect ratios the games were intended to, changing the bezels, adding scan lines, and of course you have the ability to do a quick save, so you could have a save point as well, which is very nice when playing these games. Now again, I missed out on the C64 era. I was an NES kid all the way through and through, so giving these games a shot was definitely a struggle for me. I did find 5 games on the cartridge that I really enjoyed playing. The first one was Battle Valley, this awesome little side-scrolling tank shooting game. I really enjoyed checking this game out. It has great sound to it, and it was fast, furious, and fun. I really enjoyed this game. The second game that I really enjoyed playing was Impossible Mission. Never heard of this before, but this is a really cool platformer game using a series of elevators, and all you have is the ability to jump and dodge, and you have to avoid all the mechanical robots, and it's like a dungeon crawling. There's a map that you unlock as you go up and down the building, searching for secrets, trying to solve the mission. Impossible Mission was so cool. Considering the graphics are so horrible, they didn't age well, the gameplay was still super exciting and lots of fun. I really like Impossible Mission. Moving on to the third game that I really enjoyed was this game called Lee. You are what I think is Bruce Lee, or at least an imitation of Bruce Lee, using your kung fu skills, jump kicks, punches, and it's another platformer game fighting ninjas and other characters. And despite the horrible graphics and sound, wouldn't you know it, I enjoyed this game. This game was a lot of fun considering its age, and it just hasn't aged well, but it was still good. Like, I found it playable and I found it kind of exciting. The fourth game that I found enjoyable as well as playable on this cartridge pack was Marauder. This game, you're driving around as this vehicle and you have the ability, it's a shooting game where you can shoot all the bad guys just like your side-scrolling and vertical shoot-'em-up games. This game played and handled very well. Again, all these games work really well with the Evercade controllers. Forgot to mention that earlier. No complaints using the controllers that come stock with the VS console. This game I really liked, but then again, I always like these kind of top-down shooting games. The fifth and final game that I really enjoyed on this cartridge was Subterranea. This is a side-scrolling shooting game, and of course, just like top-down shooters, I'm a big fan of side-scrolling shooters, so of course this game was right up my alley, and it played and sounded great, and it was interesting to figure out because I'd never played it before. I'm like, oh, I gotta hit that little ball thing to turn off the barriers, etc. This game worked pretty well. I think it still holds up to this day. It was a lot of fun. But that's kind of where the excitement ended for me, my dudes, because there's 14 games on this cartridge, and I only found myself really liking 5 of them. The other 9 games included, although there's some popular titles such as Winter Sports, such as Summer Sports, such as Jumpman, like, I found these games unplayable. Like, I could not get into these games. Movie Monster Game with Godzilla, etc. Like, all these games, some games were a pain in the ass just to launch and get started, and the other games just felt terrible to play. Like, terrible. I understand maybe back in the day these games were super exciting, but, you know, maybe it's because I came too late to the party that I really couldn't enjoy and recommend all these other games that are on here, such as Movie Monster Game, Alleykat, Street Sports Baseball, Gateway to Apshai, Stormlord, Iridis Alpha. Like, I just could not get into these games. I found them either unplayable or unenjoyable, but I did enjoy 5 games. So my final thoughts on this is, you really need to be a fan to consider spending the 20 bucks and picking up this cartridge. You really have to have, in my opinion, grown up with these games, experienced these games when you were younger, to have that nostalgic feel. If you're new to this show, kind of like me, late to the party, and you never got to experience these, you experienced later consoles first, like my first experience was with the NES, there's a good chance there's a lot of games on here you're not going to enjoy. So I wouldn't recommend purchasing this console cartridge pack for the Evercade unless you are already a big fan of the C64 and the games from way back then. But that's what I think about this cartridge. Let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts, feedback, reactions below. If you enjoyed the review, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up on the way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.